Hi all, this is a video of most important questions of S block elements. It covers the important concepts and questions from this particular chapter. It's a request to watch this video only after you have watched the synopsis of S block elements. So whatever concepts were discussed in the synopsis, on the basis of that the questions are being picked up. So let's start. First question. The ionization enthalpy of alkaline earth metals is greater than alkali metals but less than elements of group 13, less than alkali metals, greater than elements of 1 and 13 groups, equal to alkali metals. Now here we are talking about the comparison of ionization enthalpy of group 2 alkaline earth metals. As we move from left to right, the ionization enthalpy increases. So theoretically, the ionization enthalpy of group 2 should be greater than group 1 but less than group 13. But the ionization enthalpy from left to right has an exception because of the stable electronic configuration. Let's look at the second period elements. So in second period, we have lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen and fluorine. Theoretically, the ionization enthalpy increases from left to right. But beryllium, the group 2 element, has a stable configuration of Ns2, so it is difficult to remove the electron from a stable Ns2 configuration. Hence, the ionization enthalpy of beryllium is greater than boron. Moving ahead, the nitrogen has a stable half-filled configuration of Ns2Np3, due to which again the electron removal is difficult and the ionization enthalpy of nitrogen is greater than oxygen. So to summarize, group 2 ionization enthalpy is greater than both group 1 and group 13 elements. And one more point, the group 15 ionization enthalpy is greater than group 14 and group 16 elements. So the correct answer to this question is greater than elements of 1 and 13 groups. Gypsum on heating to 390 Kelvin gives CaSO4.2H2O, CaSO4, CaSO4.half H2O, SO3 and CaO. Now gypsum is a calcium sulfate salt with the formula CaSO4.2H2O. When gypsum is heated to a temperature of 110 to 130 degrees Celsius, it loses 1.5 molecules of water to give calcium sulfate hemihydrate, which is also called plaster of Paris. And if this plaster of Paris, that is CaSO4.half H2O, is heated further above 130 degrees Celsius, then it loses the half molecule of water to form anhydrous calcium sulfate, which is also called dead burnt plaster. Let's look at the reaction. So CaSO4.2H2O, that is gypsum, on heating in the range 110 to 130 degrees Celsius forms plaster of Paris or calcium sulfate hemihydrate CaSO4.half H2O, and this on further heating above 130 degrees Celsius, that is in the range 130 to 200 degrees Celsius, forms anhydrous CaSO4, which is called dead burnt plaster. So here the question is about gypsum on heating to 390 Kelvin, which is well in the range of 110 to 130 degrees Celsius, will give plaster of Paris. So the answer is CaSO4.half H2O. Microcosmic salt is NaNH4HPO4.4H2O, NaNH4.H2O, NaNH3HPO4.4H2O, KNH4HPO3.2H2O. Now, microcosmic salt is the commercial name of sodium ammonium biphosphate, that is NaNH4HPO4.4H2O. So, simply the answer is option A. Now, one more point to remember for microcosmic salt is it is used as an analytical reagent in microcosmic salt bead test for identification of metallic radicals, wherein they are identified with the help of color which is obtained in oxidizing or reducing flame in hot or cold condition. So, the answer to this question is option A. Next question. When a substance A reacts with water, it produces a combustible gas B and a solution of substance C in water. When another substance D reacts with this solution of C, it also produces the same gas B on warming. But D can produce B on reaction with dilute sulfuric acid at room temperature. A imparts a golden yellow color to a smokeless flame of Bunsen burner. A, B, C, and D are respectively potassium, hydrogen, KOH, aluminium, sodium, hydrogen, NaOH, zinc, calcium carbide, acetylene, calcium hydroxide, iron, or calcium, hydrogen, calcium hydroxide, and tin. Now, the most important hint for this long question is A imparts a golden yellow color to a smokeless flame of Bunsen burner. Now, it should be known that sodium imparts a golden yellow color to Bunsen burner flame. So, clearly, the substance A is sodium. And out of all the options, only one option has sodium, that is option B. Hence, the answer is clearly option B. But let's also justify this entire question. Substance A reacts with water. When sodium reacts with water, it forms sodium hydroxide and liberates H2 gas. So the combustible gas B is hydrogen, that is H2, and the substance C in water is the alkaline solution of NaOH. When another substance D reacts with this solution of C. Now a substance reacting with an alkali has to be an amphoteric metal because all the metals don't react with alkali. So the alkali metal could be aluminum, zinc, lead, tin, or any other amphoteric substance. So the substance D is an amphoteric element, that is zinc. So when this substance D reacts with C, it also produces the same gas B on warming, which is nothing but hydrogen, because when zinc reacts with NaOH, it forms sodium zincate, Na2ZnO2, and liberates H2 gas. And D can produce B on reaction with dilute sulfuric acid at room temperature. That's what the first hint was. An amphoteric metal can react with acid as well as base, and in both the condition, it liberates the same combustible gas, that is hydrogen. Hence, A was sodium metal, which imparts golden yellow color. On reaction with water, it produces a combustible gas and an alkaline solution of NaOH. A substance D reacts with an alkali has to be an amphoteric metal, hence D would be zinc. So as per the statements, the answer is option B. The paramagnetic species is KO2, which is potassium superoxide, silica SiO2, titanium dioxide TiO2, and BaO2 is barium peroxide. Now, oxides and peroxides are diamagnetic species, but superoxide with an oxidation state of O2 minus 1 is paramagnetic. and potassium superoxide is famously a paramagnetic species, that is KO2. Option A. In curing cement plasters, water is sprinkled from time to time. This helps in converting sand into silicic acid, keeping it cool, developing interlocking needle-like crystals of hydrated silicates, hydrating sand and gravel mixed with cement. Now in curing cement plasters, water is sprinkled to make the cement hard, and that hardness is achieved because of the interlocking hydrated silicates which are formed with the water molecules. So the answer is developing interlocking needle-like crystals of hydrated silicates. A sodium salt of unknown anion, when treated with MgCl2, gives white precipitate only on boiling. The anion is. Let's look at the options. We have sulfate, bicarbonate, carbonate, and nitrate. So the white precipitate which is obtained only on boiling is of magnesium carbonate. But this is obtained only on boiling, meaning there is some intermediate which is formed when the sodium salt is treated with MgCl2, and that intermediate must be of bicarbonate. So the reaction should have been sodium bicarbonate when treated with MgCl2 forms magnesium bicarbonate and NaCl. Now magnesium bicarbonate does not form a precipitate, but on boiling it can form MgCO3, which precipitates H2O and CO2 are evolved off. So the answer to this question would be the sodium salt of bicarbonate, that is option B. A solid compound X on heating gives CO2 gas and a residue. The residue mixed with water forms Y. On passing an excess of CO2 through Y in water, a clear solution Z is obtained. On boiling Z, compound X is reformed. The compound X is. Now for such questions, it's always better to look at the options given and then analyze. The options are calcium bicarbonate, calcium carbonate, sodium carbonate, and potassium carbonate. Now the first statement says that the solid compound on heating gives CO2. It should be known that in alkali metals family, only lithium carbonate decomposes. Sodium, potassium, rubidium, and cesium carbonates are highly stable and do not decompose on heating. So the option C and D is ruled out. Next, if we talk about calcium bicarbonate. Calcium bicarbonate cannot be heated as a solid because it only exists in solution. And if you heat the solution and evaporate it to dryness, the resulting solid would be calcium carbonate. So, we are talking about a solid compound, hence even the option A is ruled out. So the only option remaining is B, hence the answer is B. And now let's look at the reactions. Calcium carbonate when heated forms CaO and CO2 gas. So the residue is CaO. When this residue is mixed with water, it forms slick lime CaOH twice. When it is passed with excess of CO2 gas, it forms calcium bicarbonate, that is Z, and this calcium bicarbonate on heating again reforms the solid compound X, that is CaCO3. Hence, the answer to this question is CaCO3, option B. Which one of the following statements is true for all the alkali metals? Their nitrates decompose on heating to give NO2 and O2. Now, in alkali metals family, lithium nitrate decomposes to give lithium oxide, NO2 and O2. That is, it liberates two gases. But the other alkali metal nitrates like sodium nitrate, potassium nitrate and others, they on heating gives sodium nitrite, that is metal nitrite, and liberates only one gas, that is oxygen. So this particular statement is not true for all the alkali metal nitrates. For all the alkali metals. Hence, A is not true. Their carbonates decomposes on heating to give CO2 and metal oxide. Again, in alkali metals, only lithium carbonate decomposes on heating to form lithium oxide and CO2 gas. Other nitrates, that is sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, are so very stable that they can't be decomposed on heating. So this also is not true for all the alkali metals. They react with oxygen to give mainly the oxide of the type M2O? No. Lithium reacts with oxygen to form lithium oxide. Sodium reacts with oxygen to form sodium peroxide. And the heavy alkali metals like potassium, rubidium and cesium react with oxygen to form superoxides. They react with nitrogen to give nitrides? No. Because of the smaller size of lithium, only Li reacts with N2 to form its nitride. Other alkali metals do not have a tendency to react with nitrogen. They react with halogens to give halide Mx. Yes, all the alkali metals react with halogens to form the halides of the type Mx. Now, if we talk about the covalent and ionic character, the LiCl has high covalent character because of high polarizing power. Rest all halides are ionic in nature. But in this question, it is not being talked about the covalent or ionic character. It is just related with reaction with halogens giving halides of the type Mx. That's why the correct answer for all alkali metals is they react with halogens to give halide Mx. The sequence of ionic mobility in aqueous solution is, so we have to compare the ionic mobility of the alkali metal cations in aqueous solution. Now, lithium, because of the smaller size and high polarizing power, has a very strong tendency to get hydrated, and cesium cation on the other hand, because of larger size and smaller cation concentration, has a low tendency to get hydrated, meaning Li plus is far more hydrated than Cs plus. Now, because of higher hydration of Li plus, it is surrounded by more water molecules, hence it is less mobile. So the mobility in aqueous solution for ions increases from top to bottom. Hence the highest mobility will be for cesium ion, followed by rubidium, potassium and sodium, that is option A. Next question. Property of the alkaline earth metals that increases with their atomic number is R. Solubility of their hydroxides in water, solubility of their sulfates in water, ionization enthalpy, and electronegativity. Now, if we talk about solubility of metallic salts, then there is a simple statement to remember that solubility of all salts except halides and hydroxides goes on decreasing from top to bottom for S block elements. I repeat, for S block elements, the solubility of all the salts except halides and hydroxides decreases from top to bottom, meaning lithium and beryllium salts would be more soluble as compared to cesium and barium salts. But if I talk about hydroxides and halides, then the solubility trend is reversed, meaning lithium hydroxide and beryllium hydroxide would be less soluble as compared with cesium hydroxide and barium hydroxide. Same is the case for halides. This was the trick, and the reason to this is when we compare the solubility of all the salts, generally the hydration energy dominates over the lattice energy. But in case of hydroxides and halides, the hydration energy is not dominating the lattice, and the hydration energy does not dominate the lattice energy, and that is why the trend gets reversed for halides and hydroxides. So down the group, solubility of halides and hydroxides increases. So this is a property which increases with increase in atomic number. Hence correct answer from the options given is A. If I talk about B, solubility of sulfates in water would decrease. Ionization energy decrease. Electronegativity decrease with increase in atomic number. So the answer is option A. Next question. Which of the following compound has the highest melting point? So alkali metal halide LiCl is given, followed by NaCl, KCl and RbCl. So basically we have to compare the alkali metal halides melting point. Down the group, the halides lattice energy goes on decreasing, and with the decreasing lattice energy, even the melting point decreases. So the correct order should have been LiCl, followed by having the highest melting point, followed by NaCl, KCl and RbCl. But there is an exception. LiCl we know has a high polarizing power as per Fajan's rule, due to which it has high amount of covalent character, and because of covalent character the melting point is found to be exceptionally low. Hence the exceptional order of melting point is NaCl, followed by KCl, RbCl and LiCl. So the highest melting point is for NaCl, and if asked lowest melting point, it would have been LiCl. The solubilities of Na2SO4, BeSO4, MgSO4 and BaSO4 will follow the order. Now before we look at the options, the sulfate's solubility goes on decreasing down the group. So if I talk about alkaline earth metal sulfates, BeSO4 would have the highest solubility, followed by MgSO4 and BaSO4. Now even an alkali metal sulfate is given, that is Na2SO4. Alkali metal sulfates are found to be more soluble than alkaline earth metal sulfates. Hence, in comparison to beryllium sulfate, Na2SO4 will have a higher solubility. So the correct order should be Na2SO4 having the highest solubility, followed by BeSO4, MgSO4 and BaSO4. Beryllium and aluminium exhibit diagonal relationship. Which of the following statements about them is or not true? Both react with HCl to liberate H2 gas. Yes. Beryllium and aluminium exhibit diagonal relationship and both are amphoteric in nature. So they will react with acids to liberate H2 gas. First statement is true. They are made passive by HNO3. Yes. Beryllium and aluminium could be made passive by deposition of an oxide layer on its surface by the reaction with HNO3, an oxidizing agent. Their carbides give acetylene on treatment with water? No. Beryllium and aluminium carbides, that is Pe4C and Al4C3, both give methane gas on treatment with water and not acetylene. So this is not true. Their oxides are amphoteric? Yes, already discussed. So, the incorrect statement out of the 4 statements given is only 3, that is option E. Which of the following compounds has the lowest melting point? Calcium fluoride, calcium chloride, calcium bromide, and calcium iodide. Now the lowest melting point for the metallic salts could be found as per the covalent character or ionic character. For lowest melting point, the compound needs to have high covalent character. And for covalent character, the rule is small cation, large anion, and high positive charge. Now, the cation is same for all the options. The anion charge is also same. It's only the anion size which is differing. And for high covalent character, the anion should be large. The larger anion is iodide. So calcium iodide with a high covalent character will have the lowest melting point. Which one of the alkali metals form only the normal oxide M2O on heating in air? Potassium, lithium, sodium, rubidium. So the normal oxide in the alkali metals is formed only by lithium, that is Li. That is Li. Now let's look at the multiple answer correct type MACT questions. Starting with first one. Which of the following is R? Magnesium is harder than sodium. Yes, alkaline earth metals are harder than alkali metals. In fact, alkali metals are so very soft that they could be even cut with knife. So first is correct. Potassium is harder than sodium. No. As we move down the group, the hardness goes on decreasing. So potassium would be more softer than sodium. Melting point of potassium is higher than that of sodium. Now, hardness, lattice enthalpy, melting point all are related and they go on decreasing from top to bottom. So potassium would be softer and that is why the melting point would be lower than that of sodium. Sodium is more reactive than Mg. Yes, alkali metals are highly reactive in comparison to alkaline earth metals. Therefore, the true statements are option A and D. Which of the following compound is our efflorescent? Washing soda. Washing soda is Na2CO3.10H2O. Caustic soda is NaOH. Caustic potash is KOH. And Epsom salt is MgSO4.7H2O. So from the formulas of washing soda and Epsom salt, we see the water molecules associated with the salt and that is why they are said to be efflorescent. Hence the answer is option A and D. Which of the following compounds decompose on heating? Barium sulfate, KOH, lithium nitrate, and sodium bicarbonate. Barium sulfate, or for that matter, all the metal sulfates are very stable salts. They are very difficult to be decomposed on heating. Even the alkali metal hydroxides NaOH and KOH are highly stable. But lithium nitrate decomposes on heating to form lithium oxide NO2 and O2. Sodium bicarbonate on heating forms sodium carbonate H2O and CO2. So, of the following options, the compounds which decompose on heating are C and D. Next question. Which of the following compounds are not soluble in water? Sodium chloride. Now, sodium chloride, of course, it is highly soluble in water because of ionic nature. LiF, it's less soluble because of more covalent character. Lithium carbonate, again it is less or not soluble because of covalent character, and sodium carbonate, of course, it is again soluble because of high ionic character. So we can just apply the Fajans rule and identify that lithium fluoride and lithium carbonate are insoluble in water.